Abnormal shape, discoloration, premature ripening, lesions, and the telltale white spores covering the cocoa pod are all signs of frosty pod disease caused by the fungus Molinothora roreri. The disease attacks cocoa pods, leading to premature pod death and reduced cocoa yields, with the affected pods turning yellow or brown. The pod hardens and becomes difficult to remove from the tree. As the disease progresses, it affects the beans and reduces the marketable yields over time. First discovered on a Clarendon farm in August 2016, the disease became a major challenge in 2018, severely affecting cocoa production, threatening farmers' livelihoods and jeopardizing Jamaica's position as one of the 8 producers of fine flavor cocoa in the world. In response, the government, through the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, has stepped in to tackle the frosty pod rot disease. Between 2018 and 2022, Plant Quarantine Produce Inspection Unit (PQPI) Frosty Pod Rot Project treated 5,917 acres of cocoa. Using a farmer-centric approach, between September 2022 and February 2025, RADA's Frosty Pod Rot Disease Management Program treated 2,145 acres of cocoa.
We started this program aimed at managing the pest, keeping it under control. Now that has been quite successful. Today, have been able to eradicate the pests from Trelawney. So Trelawney is free of the frosty pod rot disease. The disease is one that is, it spreads rapidly because it's really a fungus, and so it has its challenges with controlling the disease. Nevertheless, we have been quite successful with that. RADA has been doing quite a very good job with integrated pest management practices in the field. RADA has a whole host of technical expertise you have deployed in managing the disease in the affected areas.
Currently, under the program, our major focus is the implementation of cultural disease management practices. Once you grow cocoa, you can access assistance from RADA in implementing the range of cultural disease management practices in order that the disease can be adequately managed on your holding.
Right now, the farm used to be the leading farm in St. Mary. We get like 1,500, 2,000 bucks a week. You understand? And it go boil right down till, we call it about 3-4 years, we don't get nothing. You understand? If RADA never step in, we don't get to him 500 bucks last year. When we notice it is when you're breaking, because some of the frosty pods start from inside. You get that toughness there. Then you see anywhere cold, extra cold, that's where you get the frosty on the outside of the thing.
For the frosty pod rot to develop, there must be a favorable environment, the presence of the fungus in the surroundings, and a susceptible host to infect.
If you remove anyone, let's say you remove the fungus by applying pesticides, you still have the host remaining and you still have a favorable environment remaining, but the pest cannot develop or the disease cannot develop to cause economic damage.
It's like something that come like COVID where it chance take on by the breeze blow, but it take we a while before we could have pick up that. You understand? So realize that if we're down at the bottom of the field, different clothes we got at the top of the field. With RADA under that management, cut it down on a level.
RADA response was two-phase. First, in terms of training, but the awareness of the disease needs to be highlighted. So a series of trainings of the cocoa farmers were implemented in the major cocoa growing areas. This has proven very successful.
I was invited to a Frosty Pod seminar, management and training, put on by RADA, held at the Bethel Baptist Church. It's an all-day seminar, and they went through the whole thing: identification, what you do with the field, sanitation, treatment, and follow-up exercises. It was a training that was not above our level as farmers, and we could understand and relate to what was happening.
The management process was no different, where RADA continued a step-by-step process in managing the disease.
First, we'd go in and we'd do the weed management. So we'd remove all the bush or the weeds from under the tree to allow aeration to go in. The second one we do is to do overshade management. We'd normally remove all the branches, leaves, plants that are not economic benefit to the farmers.
This includes the removal of trumpet trees and other trees to allow sunlight to penetrate the field.
We then do pruning. That's where the height of the tree sometimes can be up to 30 feet. We normally try to maintain at 10 to 12 feet in height. We then use the saw to remove or cut any dead branches that are intertwined, after which we'll do stripping. Stripping entails of removing all but the pods. So remove the sherrills, the rot cut, the frosty, and the black pods. We then heap those in a bag, and the worker will take them and line them out on the field, and we do this with liming. So we'll have a row on the ground that is cleared of cocoa. Then we have a next liming take place. So we have that in like a compost heap. The final step we do is contouring. And contouring is all those branches and limbs that are removed from the plants. We place them in a straight line coming from the contour. That will eliminate soil erosion, leaching, etc. in a straight line.
When that is completed, workers are encouraged to sanitize with 70% isopropyl alcohol to avoid spreading frosty pod rot disease to other cocoa farms. In Jamaica, the major cocoa growing parishes are St. Mary, St. Catherine, St. Andrew, Clarendon, Portland, St. Thomas, Trelawney, and St. James. By far, the largest area dedicated to cocoa cultivation is Northern Clarendon.
For the past few years, the disease was really bad. But since the pruning of the cocoa, I would say it dropped. Instead of you'd have like say 60% of disease, now we say about 5%.
Sourcing top quality cocoa beans is essential, and only fully ripe disease-free pods are harvested, ensuring they are free from disease and rodent damage.
Now that I'm reaping and my production is good, a lot of the other farmers, cocoa farmers, them tell me that they have to go do just the same thing like what me do.
After harvesting, designated collectors gather the cocoa at depots to ensure farmers adhere to quality standards. The fermentary trucking team also plays a critical role in adhering to these protocols to ensure timely delivery of wet beans for proper fermentation, which is vital for producing high-quality cocoa.
We collect the cocoa beans from the farmers through our trucks, or there are times when our farmers bring the supplies in. So we would have processed those beans by fermenting the beans in a controlled environment over a number of days.
Fermentation is crucial in cocoa processing as it develops the bean's flavor. The goal of fermentation is to reduce this bitterness and enhance the rich, fruity notes, creating the fine flavor needed for chocolate and confections.
After the fermentation process is over, those beans are dried, bagged, weighed, and dispatched to our finishing works at the export division, where they would have fumigated, sorted, or grade the beans and dispatched them to the relevant markets.
To ensure that quality and best practices are upheld throughout the entire process, the Jamaica Agricultural Commodities Regulatory Authority (JACRA) serves as the monitoring body.
We are also involved in the certification, the license, and we work with the different parts or different stakeholders that has to do with the cocoa production. We carry out quality checks at different levels, at all the levels at which it's handled. So from the reaping aspect of it to when it's brought to the depot, and thereafter when it goes to the fermentary, we are heavily involved in that part of it. So we try to ensure that quality produce is done from that level upwards. So we ensure quality and good standards is being kept from that level upwards.
The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining's targeted disease management programs, research, farmer support initiatives, among other efforts, will ensure Jamaica's cocoa continues to uphold pride of place in producing cocoa beans consistent with a fine flavor profile. And that spells well for the long-term sustainability of the cocoa industry and its positive impact on the island's economy. If you suspect your farm may be affected by cocoa frosty pod, act now. Contact your nearest RADA Parish office immediately or speak with your RADA Agricultural Extension Officer for urgent guidance and support.